This is how you're gonna quit vaping in 2025 with zero willpower. This is a thing a lot of people get wrong when they're trying to quit, is that they rely on willpower alone. And we've known for a long time now that you can't just rely on motivation alone to do things. You need to set up habits and routines. And basically what we're trying to do is to make it as physically hard as possible for you to get another hit. We wanna make it so that it's easier for you to not get another hit than it is for you to get another hit. So I'm gonna be sharing with you 6 tips that you need to implement and do and think about in your life right now when you do have that little spark of inspiration, that little spark of willpower, so that future you is not gonna need any willpower to stay off the vape. And then later on, I'm gonna be sharing with you my personal addiction story, how I was able to quit vaping. If you wanna stick around for that, I would love to share my story with you. There was a study done on willpower. It basically concluded that willpower depletes the more you use it. So think of it like a bucket that we have filled with willpower that we can use for the day. The more that we use it, the less that we have later on. You know, you can think of this like a cookie, really delicious cookie that you have floating around you every single minute of the day. Every single time you see or smell that cookie, you're gonna actively have to reject it. And that depletes your willpower. So later on throughout the day, you know, towards nighttime, after you've already said no a million times, you might actually, you know, take that cookie, whereas you wouldn't have in the beginning. You know, using that cookie analogy, I know it's a really silly analogy, you can replace it for a vape. So if you have a vape that you're trying not to hit throughout the day, but you can actively see it, you're actively using willpower, and then it depletes your willpower bucket. So later on, you know, you might have a harder time saying no. And that's literally based in science. It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you're lazy, and it's just how our bodies operate. So the first thing that you need to do is to make it as physically hard as possible for you to get another hit. We want to make it easier for you to just lay in bed and bed rot than it is for you to go to the store and buy another vape. And this is how you're going to do that. So this might sound silly, but bear with me. So if it's in the winter time and you usually go downstairs to the corner store to buy a vape, what I want you to do is to hide all of your winter coats and maybe even your shoes. So you can put them in the back of a closet in the basement, or you can put them in a suitcase in your closet. Basically, do these little things so that it's just 5% harder for you to go downstairs, and that 5% might be what saves you from actually going. If you normally order a vape on your phone using maybe GoPuff or something, I want you to delete that app from your phone and then delete the password for that app so that you have a harder time trying to log in. Or maybe if you can figure it out, deactivate your account. You know, so then next time when you do want to order another vape, you're gonna have to sign up, log in, enter your address all over again. It's just those little 3%, that little 5% of a barrier that might actually stop you from getting your next hit. And obviously this goes without saying, but don't have any old vapes lying around, out of sight, out of mind, right? Don't just throw them in your trash can in your bedroom, because you and I both know that hour 3, you're gonna be digging through your trash like I did to try to get a last hit. So maybe throw it out in a trash can outside of your house or outside of your apartment, you know, where the garbage truck comes and takes out the trash, or better yet, throw it in a public trash can. Another one could be hiding your credit cards, deleting Apple Pay off your phone, just those little things, right? So think of any little stupid barrier that you can create between yourself and buying another vape. We're creating these barriers for when you have that zero willpower later on. And everyone is gonna go through that phase of having a lot of willpower and motivation and then running on empty. That's, again, how we work as humans. Okay, the next is going to be bed rotting. So I want you to treat yourself as if you are healing from a sickness for this whole week, okay? So please do not try to start 5 different habits at the same time. So don't be one of those people that are like, I'm gonna quit vaping, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna cook every day, and I'm gonna see all my friends this week. Okay, let's focus on one thing at a time, which is going to be on not vaping. So I know for that first week that I quit, all I did was go to work, and I work remotely, so I would just log in, do the bare minimum for that week because I had hella brain fog. And then I would just lay in bed and eat ramen. And I know that might sound dramatic for some of you, but that's what I needed to do. That's what I needed to do because I had zero motivation, zero willpower to do anything else. So I didn't force myself to go to the gym. I didn't force myself to cook dinner at night when I didn't want to. I didn't force myself to hang out with friends and be social. So really treat yourself as if you are sick, because you're gonna get through this cold. You're gonna get through this little bit of sickness, this stuffy nose that you have, in about a week. Trust me. The third thing that you have to do is to use other people's motivation as your own. So what I did was, when I would go to sleep, I would pull up and listen to this YouTuber called Addiction Mindset. He has a lot of good videos. He's a doctor and he has a lot of good videos that you can just put on as you're trying to fall asleep, and he'll just talk you through his own personal story. And it's just really good to basically draw your motivation and your inspiration from someone else when you're lacking it yourself in that moment. He definitely helped me quit. Okay, the fourth thing you need to do is to get a push pop, maybe like a baby bottle, that's some kind of candy. The reason for this is going to be twofold. So one, it's going to give you a sugar rush whenever you lick it, and that's going to kind of emulate that kind of that head high that you would get whenever you hit your vape. So I know for me personally, I would always hit my vape when I'm working from home, whenever I felt a little bit tired, and then I would get a little bit of energy after getting that hit. So that push pop is going to do that same thing. It's going to give you a little bit of sugar to make you have a little bit more energy. The second reason for this is so that you can have that oral fixation. The first time I tried to quit unsuccessfully, I used a spoon as something to basically like put in my mouth to chew on for that oral fixation, but that didn't really work because chewing on a spoon is like not fun for me. I don't usually chew on things. So that's why I recommend some kind of candy, something that has like a flavor to it. I know there are a lot of different non-nicotine vapes out there that you could order, but I recommend trying out a push pop first before you go and order a new device. I think getting rid of that smoking sensation as you're trying to quit is going to be really helpful for you to stay off vaping in the long run. All right, the fifth thing that you need to know is your timeline. So this is really the light at the end of the tunnel. This is why you are pushing yourself through a really shitty week, through a really hard week, because it's going to end. It's going to have an end, and you're going to feel better than you did before you even quit vaping. Nicotine is a really short-lasting drug. It's going to be out of your bloodstream in 72 hours. So if you can make it past 72 hours, all of the cravings that you have beyond that point, it's all going to be mental, and it's not something physical that's making you crave it, right? It's really just a mindset shift beyond the 72-hour mark. And then if you can make it past 72 hours, you can make it past a week. And if you can make it past a week, what's another week? And, after that point, which I know seems really, really far away right now, but I believe you will be able to get there. Beyond that point, it's going to be relying on just your routine. So you're not going to need to exert any willpower after you've already established a new habit. And that's what we're trying to get to. Number 6 that you need to know is to have some kind of list of why you want to quit. For me personally, I wanted better skin. I was noticing that I was starting to get like a lot of creasing around here, my nasal labial folds, and I didn't want wrinkles. So my motivation was pretty vain. I'm not even gonna lie, that was the number one reason why I wanted to quit. It was for my skin. And I can tell you that your skin does get better. So I'm gonna tell you the benefits of not hitting a vape, not being addicted to the vape, that I was able to witness firsthand. And maybe you can take some of these and make it to be your motivation. So first of all, like I said, better skin. I noticed that I stopped having so many random breakouts. Also, the color came back to my face. I was really gray beforehand, and I would always just chalk it up to me being neutral tone, but no, I was actually gray. Like there was no blood in my face, if that makes sense. But now I noticed that there's more color to my skin, and a lot of people who quit vaping will tell you the same thing. Second of all, I no longer have those gagging coughs. You know, those coughs where you feel like you're just like about to throw up. So the nausea is gone. I didn't even know I was nauseous 24/7 when I was vaping, but I was. And you know why I know that? It's because now when I wake up in the morning and I brush my tongue, I don't gag anymore. I mean, I gag a little bit because I'm brushing my tongue, but I was not to the extent that I was having like some kind of reflex when I was vaping. 3, this is going to sound not real, because I truly did not believe this when I heard other people say this, but I have more energy now. It's easier for me to wake up. It's also easier for me to work for 8 hours a day sitting at a computer. I'm able to focus, like mentally focus for longer periods of time now. I don't think I have ADHD anymore. And also hanging out with people is a lot easier now because I'm not constantly thinking about when I can go into my room or step away for a second to hit my vape. So being present, I think, leads to a lot more energy. And another benefit that I think a lot of people don't consider is how much more you respect yourself if you're able to follow through and quit vaping. You're building confidence in yourself. You're building trust in yourself because you're keeping your word. You're doing the hard thing. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
I forgot to add that you guys can absolutely do it, and I believe in you 100%. You just need to believe in yourself. There was a time that existed where you didn't need to vape, and there will be a time like that again. I was a vapor myself for 7 years. I even smoked cigarettes at one point, and I tried to quit unsuccessfully 2 other times. This video has gotten way too long, so I'm going to share my personal story about how I quit, my journey, in another video, so subscribe if you want to see that. If any of you guys are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing, share with me in the comments your story, and I would be honored to hear it.